Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Teaching for Sustainability. And today we've got a very special guest, Julian Sinclair, who is Community Science Officer at the Natural History Museum. Morning.
Good morning, Paul. Thanks for having me.
So we're going to explore the National Education Nature Park programme, and I've got a bit of a snippet here, a sentence that kind of starts to tell a bit of what it's all about. So the programme empowers children and young people to make a positive difference to both their own and nature's future. And I guess, we'll be able to explore that a bit more in a second. I wondered if you wanted to talk, first of all, about your role, and then maybe we could go into the way that the programme's structured.
Yes, thanks very much, Paul. Yes, so my role, yeah, community science officer, and I work at the Natural History Museum as part of this community science team. Now, community science is another word for citizen science, and what that means is when people from all walks of life collaborate with scientists to conduct real scientific research and drive scientific discovery. So that's sort of the team that I sit in. And my journey to this role, I come from a background of sort of practical wildlife conservation. So I was outdoors a lot. I love being in wetlands. I love being with wildlife. And then I sort of realized that I quite like people too. So then I moved towards sort of community engagement. And now I've found the perfect role that dovetails both, that I've got sort of the science and the conservation and the people with the community science. So now I get to do both. Um, my role is to do with upskilling in community science. So that's both internally across the partnership and external collaborators as well.
hmm That citizen science sort of piece is really interesting. There's a lot of interest, particularly around water at the moment, isn't there, in terms of engaging young people in water quality. Um,
Yeah, it's a brilliant way to be able to do like real practical scientific experiments and tests. I was part of a project last year to do with the eDNA of urban ponds, and it's brilliant to see people really engaging with their ponds, finding out what's in them, the sort of the invisible life. Yeah, it's a really powerful tool.
cool. Well, should we jump into the National Education Nature Park then? Yeah, do you want to give us a bit more of an overview of what it's all about?
Of course, yeah. It might help to break it down by the words. So, national, this is about across the whole of England, from the very tip of Cornwall to the top of the northeast in Newcastle and everywhere in between. Education, this is a free educational program commissioned by the Department of Education, and it's delivered by many different partners, led by the Natural History Museum, but Royal Horticultural Society and many others. And Nature Park, so it involves all schools, colleges, and nurseries across all of England. And Nature Park is about envisioning all of them together as one united sort of network. And it's about young people leading the way and creating a network of green spaces on their own school grounds. So this is about turning from grey to green, thriving, blooming, buzzing green spaces that work for wildlife and benefit people as well. And young people are doing this by conducting this real scientific research we just spoke about, and sort of going out, recording wildlife, measuring, mapping the habitats, taking those results, making evidence-based decisions, and then watching their biodiversity improve over time. We have about one in every three schools and colleges across England taking part.
And going back, that there's a statistic, isn't there, that's sort of banded around in terms of the scale of the school, I guess, estate. Is it an area twice the size of what's the city?
It's Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
every believe every primary and secondary school taken together, their actual space amounts to twice the size of Birmingham, which is absolutely massive.
Yeah, there's so much potential in that. And I think what's interesting as well, you talk about greening the grey in the sense of there's a stereotype, isn't there, of a sort of a school ground with a fair bit of tarmac and a bit of mown grass. I mean, yeah, is that the kind of what you found is that when you go into schools that's the kind of picture initially?
Well, to tell you the truth, school sites are a bit of a mystery to scientists. We don't really know what's there and how the biodiversity is doing at the moment, how it might be thriving in the future. So part of the really exciting part of myself and my community science team is actually finding out what's there and then how it can be improved. Not many scientists, I think, have had the opportunity and the access to a lot of these sites. So it's really about empowering young people to find out and drive discovery in places that we don't know much about, the biodiversity there, at the same time as contributing to global biodiversity research, precisely because we don't know what's there.
Yeah, I guess what's interesting is these are sites where young people spend a lot of time, and it's maybe their, I was just going to say one of their first introductions to kind of outdoor spaces in this way. And I know there's sort of stereotypes of parks and particularly sort of national trust sites that people might be going investigating, but the school site is a really has so much potential and could be a really valuable one. Just to take,
Absolutely.
sorry.
And on that point, actually, that if there is a site that's sort of considering grey and sort of with concrete, that has the biggest potential gain
Hmm.
from a biodiversity point of view, because that you're starting from very little and sort of a depleted biodiversity, and that's where you can really be making a huge impact. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Well, I guess also the thing to mention is that wider picture in terms of biodiversity loss. And I know that, anecdotally you say, well, schools have sort of put tarmac over areas or sort of mown areas and partly that might be to do with maintenance, but there's a wider picture in terms of the British landscape as well, isn't there? I don't know, did you want to talk to that kind of what's happened to the biodiversity nationally?
Yes, I mean the part of a lot of what I've studied in my career has been about measuring biodiversity loss. And it's so exciting to be part of a project that's measuring the biodiversity gain. This is about really looking at what's on your site, seeing where the potential benefits might be, and also using the evidence. The reason this really matters is if you want to be putting in a pond, for example, you really want to know what's there already so that you're not potentially putting a pond in a really high quality meadow, for example. And one of my colleagues does work on collating results from a lot of different literature out there. And it really depends on the context. So she's, for example, found that if you look at pollinator species richness, so this is about different types of species of pollinators and pollinator abundance. If you plant flowers in a town, the species richness increases by about 46%, and the abundance, so that the total number of pollinators is about 100%, so doubling, but that it depends on the context.
Hmm.
So, for example, if you compare adding flowers in a rural place versus an urban place, it has a much bigger effect in an urban space. Fantastic for so many schools, which are often in urban areas. So, a real potential there.
Um, just mentioning then the scale of this, because I know you sort of we talk about the number of schools across the country, but just sort of in terms of the resource that's going into this. So this is a sort of multi-million pound project funded by the Department for Education. Do you want to mention just in terms of the scale of who's involved at the Natural History Museum and then the kind of wider, is it the RHS as well?
Royal Horticultural
Yeah.
Society, yes, Esri provides the geographical information system that we're using for all the mapping and digital tools, learning through landscapes, the Royal Geographical Society, Royal Society. It is really a very big collaborative project. And we're also one of the four national support programs funded and supported by the Department of Education. So alongside Climate Ambassadors, Let's Go Zero, the Sustainability
Support Hub, yes. Yeah.
Support Hub for Education. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and how many people are involved at the Natural History Museum and how many at the RHS and sort of what does that team look like nationally? Just also in terms of then teachers across the country, whom they might be sort of engaging with and how that works.
Yes, so in terms of who you're most likely to be engaging with, we have a network of regional officers. So these are Royal Horticultural Society officers who are in every single region of England. So they're your local support network, if you
Hmm.
like. So they will be engaging with schools, helping you find the best sort of support, linking you up to other organizations, local authorities, helping you find funding and sort of all the right resources for your setting as well. So yeah, the regional offices, and there's a page on the website called Finding Local Help where you can find them.
Cool. We'll make sure we add that in the description. And then you mentioned their funding as well, because isn't that an important part of this is supporting schools through additional funding? Um,
So, what we're really keen to do is that there are as many options as possible that are low cost, so that we have, many of the different biodiversity improvements can be done very easily, actually. So, we have I remember one school decided to improve one of their sort of entrances that was just concrete, and without even lifting the concrete, they just sort of added some planters with some flowers for pollinators, and that made a massive difference. They saw bumblebees and everything. The Department of Education is also arranging a grant funded for certain schools, and I believe they've awarded about 12 million so far, and that's based on eligibility criteria from the Department of Education that's to do with access to green space and other indicators, I believe. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Um, I wondered if there was a sort of activity or something within the support and materials and resources that you thought that is one I really think is a great one and that yeah, that you wanted to share.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity.
Hey.
I'd love to talk to. Yeah, there's one for the summertime that's called the pollinator count, which I really love. So this is one of the community science activities. So it involves, I'm biased, so it's going to be a community science one.
Yeah.
Um, it involves collecting real data on the pollinators on your site, and all you need is a bunch of flowers. It can be in a meadow, in a field, or in a pot, and it's about counting the pollinators that land on your flowers for between 5 and 10 minutes, and doing it in a couple of different habitats. You've got reliable and robust scientific data. Really lovely activity, the pollinator count.
Okay, I will have to look out for that one. A lot of the focus as well is about building opportunities for nature connection. I wondered if is that something you wanted to talk about as well? I know a lot of it is based on the work of Miles Richardson around the pathways to nature connection or nature connectedness.
Sure. Uh, I mean, it is one of the key benefits of the nature park. We have sort of the educational benefit, the environmental benefit, and the emotional benefit. So, yes, uh, just going outside and being able to connect to nature, develop a real strong connection to nature, not only you feel the well-being benefits, but also you increase the instinct to then want to protect it in the future as well. Going forwards, there's a new piece of research that we'll be running in the project this coming year that's all about sort of understanding and measuring the well-being benefit of the nature park to both staff and students. So watch this space.
Yeah, so that sounds exciting. You did mention about the wider sort of DfE supported projects and things. I wondered, um, kind of, yeah, is there an opportunity to talk about how that is connected and sort of they co-benefit each other? So,
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for the question. Yes, so the Department of Education has this national package of support for different schools to help them on their sustainability journey. So this is about their climate action plans, but it can also be about improving biodiversity on their own school site. And the four are the climate ambassadors, the Let's Go Zero climate action advisors, the Sustainability Support Hub for Education, and the National Education Nature Park. And these are all complementary programs. They offer free, high quality support. And we are all working together so that no matter which program your school, college, or nursery gets in touch with first, you'll be signposted to the right kind of support and the right program for your setting and for the resources and the ideas that you have to implement your climate action plan. A great example is Drake Primary School. I don't know if you've seen the sort of case study there, but they were able to collaborate with all the different projects on their climate action plan. So sort of from improving a wetland area to they put in solar panels and even electric minibuses with Let's Go Zero, and they then implemented. This is a really interesting one. They implemented they looked at their safeguarding policy from a climate change perspective
mm.
and implemented things like emergency preparedness and tackling eco-anxiety, which was, I thought, really brilliant.
Yeah, sounds like a really good example. And so a lot of those case studies are on the website as well. Is that right? That people can go
Yes.
and look and kind of almost be inspired by here's a way that one school's doing it. Maybe we could do the same.
There's a whole page on case studies, and there's a whole map where you get to see the collective difference that you're making, not just yourself and your own school ground site, but actually as a whole across the whole of England.
The sort of glowing map, isn't it? It sort of really brings it to life.
Yeah.
Um, I guess maybe one thing to mention as well is it sounds like it could be all encompassing, but equally it could be the program is quite flexible. And I wondered if you wanted to talk to that, that maybe if there is there a starting point or a thing that you think actually that's a good first thing for a school to do, and then it might lead to other things, or the best way for teachers to get involved in that sense.
Absolutely. And on that point, the free curriculum linked resources on the website are for all key stages across all subjects, and they are as flexible and adaptable as possible. You've just said the key words right there. So yeah, they are very much to be taken and adapted to your school setting. Um, in terms of a first step, I would say have a look at the map. Go on the website and literally just have a look in your local area at all the other schools and the collective difference being made. And then sign up on the educationnaturepark.org.uk website and start. The very first step of the journey is to have a look, go outside and start your habitat map. That's your baseline starting point to understand what's there, be able to make evidence-based decisions, and then watch your biodiversity improve.
Cool. And then I guess also the thing maybe to mention is that this is cross-curricular in a sense that people might instantly jump and think, oh, this is a science linked aspect, or it might be geography linked, but actually there's resources and materials that go across the full kind of subject spread. Yeah.
It really does, yeah, absolutely. And there's the green skills that young people will be developing through this program are very far wide ranging. They can be including subjects such as English and maths and computing and design and technology and citizenship as well, sort of taking responsibility for a place that you look after. And yeah, and GIS, the Geographical Information System, can be applied to as many careers as you can possibly think in the future. I wish I could have learnt GIS at school. I really would have done. Yeah.
Something to finish on is kind of what have you got going on in your role kind of in the coming weeks, in the coming months? Is there anything exciting that you're looking towards?
Yes. Yes. So coming up, for example, our team is currently developing and testing the next community science survey, and it's all about going out and looking at your grasslands, so surveying the quality of your grasslands. And I really love it because with the pollinator count, you're looking at the insects, you're looking at the pollinators on the flowers, which is, I mean, does wonders to the mood and to the brain. But with the grassland, you're really digging in and looking, it's really sort of rifling through and looking through the grass, which is just like the fact that you're touching grass and really getting close and engaging with your grassy areas, I think is fantastic. So that will be coming up soon in the next few months. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing all of this.
No, thank you, Paul. Thanks for having me. It's been wonderful. Thank you.